Hey, it's Osman with House Einstein, and I am going to give you a short walkthrough of our latest blog post on notable sales. And you can go to houseeinstein.com and check it out there, or you can follow along with this video. And the post is called Are There Still Bidding Wars? And surprise, yes, we are getting bidding wars in Boulder. And this post talks about a couple of recent sales that I think are interesting and illustrative about market conditions. Most of these homes went under contract before the full scale of the coronavirus was widely known, but the buyers continued their sale process and closed on these properties. So let's take a look. The first listing I want to talk about is 3500 Eastman. And Eastman is a street that runs through Martin Acres, and it's located just to the west of Martin Park. And this particular house was north facing, and um, it's a standard ranch, a 4 bedroom, 3 bath, pretty typical square footage, 1,200 square feet on the main, a 1,200 square foot basement, and built in the 50s, like the vast majority of the neighborhood. The house itself is unremarkable. I mean, I guess the trees in front are remarkable. They are likely going to be torn out right away. And I suspect this will end up being a pop in the near future where a second story is added and the complete home is, the exterior and interior finishes are completely redone. Look for that in the near future, and hopefully when they do that project, they add the trusses that create the taller first floor. I think that's one of the smartest things that owners can do when they're contemplating that project. There's a bunch of them on Martin Drive. There's a bunch of them actually all over Boulder, and but Martin Acres has been a hotspot of that activity for some time. So basic ranch, brick exterior. It's a brick veneer. It's not a brick house, as most people know. It's a stick frame house. Hardwood floors. All of this looks pretty standard Martin Acres. The wall that separates the kitchen from the living area is intact. To remove that wall, you have to put in a beam to support it when it's this design of Martin Acres, when it's this model. Ranch, kitchen cabinetry, and the kitchen itself looks super basic, probably maybe a 90s era remodel, judging by the cabinetry. There's some mismatched appliances inside, nothing fancy, and relatively clean, however. And the bath looks like it may have had an update in the 90s as well. That's the main bath on the main level. And there's also a tiny bath in this particular model of house that people would have considered the master. And judging by the sink and the orientation, I know this layout really well, and it's pretty tight in there. Um, so the next thing to take a look at in these ranches are the basement, and that's these photos. And you can tell the basement finish is really basic and may have been done by the homeowner themselves, who knows how long ago, but there is a bathroom down there. Um, and it looks like wood um, paneled basement finish. My dad did one of those when I was growing up. It's basically gluing furred strips to the concrete wall and then attaching the wood paneling to those furred strips. Although I see electrical, so there's some electrical work. Hopefully, this was done correctly and with a permit, but you never know. Probably better to assume it wasn't. And it looks like it might be a linoleum floor, but it could also be a tiled floor that could be asbestos as well. So that's something to look at if you own one of these houses or are considering this type of project. There is a bedroom down here, but almost certainly none of these windows are egress um, windows for fire safety. So I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, look at that phone. I wouldn't be surprised if they completely gut that basement too. So I don't know why they're showing a photo of Mesa Elementary. I think that's It's definitely not Martin. Uh, at least it's not Martin anymore. So the Martin Elementary School, the Creekside Elementary School, is completely redone. So that I don't know what that photo is. And that's the shelter in Martin Park, and those are the courts that my wife and I play on frequently, in a playground. And the location is great. Let's go back to that map real quick. It definitely gives you access to the Table Mesa Shopping Center, and there's the bus stop there. And if you need to get to Denver or to the airport, it's super easy from the south side of town. So the location is pretty solid, but subject to some traffic noise. You're going to hear traffic on Broadway from this house location. And you may have noticed the tall fence in the backyard. And the reason for that is I think there's some, it may, well, let me see if I can get to there's the button, aerial. No, it's just Fordham Court in the backyard. So it's kind of strange there's that tall fence. For some reason I was thinking it might be closer to the church, but no. This is, it's just residential street back there. So there you have it. It may have a slightly unusual shaped lot, which we should check real quick. I didn't talk about that in the blog post, but I'm going to show you what that looks like over here. And if you're serious about shopping for real estate, the county website is your friend. It has tons of detail, and it is an unusual shaped lot. So hopefully these people knew that when you have a non-conforming distance between the side lot, it has a pretty dramatic effect on what you can potentially do with it. And hopefully they consulted with their realtor who knew better, or an architect or a city planner who could guide them through how this weird shaped lot impacts future development potential, because it certainly will. Okay, so what happened with this deal? Well, it was listed at 685 on February 24th, and it sold on March 27th, so a little over a month, typical time frame, and it went for 55,000 over asking. I think 685 was a pretty low list price, and it definitely proves that there's a lot of demand for these basic entry-level style houses, especially the ones with the full basement. Okay, so what can you do with those types of homes? Well, that's why I included this next listing, 3405 Martin Drive. It was listed on March 9th. It's a two-story, which once upon a time was a basic ranch, and they popped the top with a second-story addition and remodeled the entire interior and exterior. This one also has a oversized two-car garage on it, and it was listed at 929 on March 9th, and it sold um, a little more than 2 weeks. I think I wrote less than 2 weeks, but it's actually a little longer. It sold for 46,000 over asking. Phenomenal closing timeline for a home that had a conventional mortgage and was not a cash deal. So almost certainly they tightened down some of their contingencies. They may have limited their inspection or even waived it to get the house. And if you click on this in my blog post, you'll see that it'll take you to the listing site, and you can see some of these details. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Let's take a look at the interior photos real quick. I think this home has aged really well. It's been done for a while. It's not a new renovation, and it still looks pretty tasteful on the outside. Although I don't think corrugated metal exterior finish is as popular as people thought when they first did this, but it's still reasonably contemporary looking. And inside you can see some vaulted ceilings and good placement for the stairs. It's on the side, not staring at you when you walk in the door. You really want to be able to see through the whole house when you walk in, and that looks like what we have here. And unfortunately, I was traveling when this home listed, so I didn't actually get a chance to take a look at the inside in person. So I'm looking at it now with you online and reading the tea leaves. Kitchen finish is fine. I think it's starting to show a little bit of its age and its granite choice. Um, and its counter surfaces, but overall that's really minor and easy to correct, especially if we're going to be in a downturn. That type of work will probably be being offered at a big discount soon. So nice floor plan, radiant heat system. I don't see mini splits anywhere, but I think on the upper level there may be a whole house fan. Yeah, I can see the vent for it there. So that's probably what the story is with cooling. Overall, pretty tasteful house, and um, strangely listed at a low price. So when we go back to the blog post, close that window, we don't need that Yeah, listed at 929, sold for 46,000 over asking. And if you're curious about the comps that support higher valuations, you can click on this link and it'll take you to a couple of sales that have happened over the last few years with remodeled and second story addition Martin Acres houses, both of which were sold at higher numbers: 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. One of them had a 2 car detached garage, the other one had a single car garage, both of which support pretty strongly this house at 975. So I think it's sold at value, and hopefully the owners are pretty happy with it. The Martin Drive address is a little bit busy. I I think that knocks it down a little bit, but this home also has some pretty nice landscaping and pretty good curb appeal that somewhat makes up for that. So okay, and the last one on the list is 7212 Old Post Road. It sold for 935. Originally, the sellers of this house. So let's talk about the location first. The location is the neighborhood that surrounds Gun Barrel. It's in Gun Barrel. It's the neighborhood that surrounds the golf course. And this neighborhood was mostly constructed in the 70s. I think it was actually originally built for IBM executives that were the dominant tech company back then, and at least that's the rumor. I was born in 75, so I wasn't here, but that's what I've heard, is that that's what Gun Barrel was built for. And these homes in the country club neighborhood, as it's affectionately called, although it's not the official name. The official name is Island Greens, but the country club neighborhood has large lots, and it's low density, no sidewalks even. It's very spacious, and the homes are generously sized as well, as this one is. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, sprawling out over 4,700 square feet. It's listed as a one-story ranch, but that's not what this house is. It's a multi-level house. It's probably more correctly described as a tri-level, but there's lots of level living space in the house. It just, as you can see from the photos, it has a multi-level section to the house that, from my eye, looks like it might have been an addition at once upon a time, but that would have to be verified with a site visit. So interior, somewhat dated. The kitchen's not bad, um, but there were things that the seller could have done to speed the sale of this house, and it would have been a lot less expensive than the decrease in value the from the original asking price. And paint, flooring, staging furniture probably would have helped a lot to make this house sell a little faster. It's amazing how bright paint, a fresh coat of paint, can help a house sell so much more quickly. And you can get a sense of the landscaping and the spaciousness in this neighborhood. It is a great place to live, and it feels somewhat exclusive. But a lot of the houses in the neighborhood, like this one, are starting to show their age and could stand with some updates. So um, there you go, 2 car garage, larger lot, decent location. And it originally listed at, where did it go? Let's find that page. There we go. Originally listed at $1,050,000 a year ago, and then a month later the owner slashed the price to 75,000, and then they held it there at 75,000 throughout the summer selling season. Nothing happened. It just sat on the market, and then about February 10th it went under contract, and it closed March 24th. So a little more than 30 days under contract, and it sold for 935, or 4.1% below the asking price. And the key takeaways for this one is that they could have done some homework prior to listing it to help it sell faster, and price it appropriately too would also have helped it sell faster. And in the end, that carrying time plus the discount um, means that they probably could have netted more if they had approached it a little differently. So those are the 3 listings in this week's listings of note. And if you're interested in learning about fresh listings, we do those regularly too, trying to aim for them weekly, and you can click here to sign up for those. Those are not public. We have to share that in a private newsletter. We're not allowed to share disparaging commentary about active listings, and we go through listings every week and try to pick out the ones that we think are the best ones to hit the market and talk about them constructively, and after discussion with the regulatory agencies and the MLS. They asked us to put it under a newsletter. So the only way to get it is for us to treat you like a prospective client. We won't send you spam. We won't contact you unless you actually ask to be contacted by us. But you'll have to click this link to sign up and learn more. It's really simple. There's a sign up form. We just ask about your interests and the locations you're interested in, and then whether or not you even want us to contact you. And if you do that, you'll have access to the latest fresh listings as well as our full archive of fresh listings. So that's notable sales and how to sign up for fresh listings. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.